My name's Valerie Segrest, and I'm a member of the Muckleshoot tribe, and I'm a nutritionist who specializes in traditional foods and medicines of the Pacific Northwest. So we did a youth food policy council, and that was in collaboration with the Center for World Indigenous Studies. It was funded through the First Nations Development Institute, which is an incredible funder and just such an innovative philanthropic organization for Indian country. And we really wanted to, in so much of this work, it's always, I didn't want the work to be translated as without, like, it has to be about me. This is really a community effort, and it's really about sort of cultivating courage in that next generation. And that means that they need to be able to understand concepts, our government, the way it works, the significance of treaties and treaty rights in our area. That's really significant. It is upheld by the Constitution. I mean, it's the supreme law of the land. And so much of today's issues that we're dealing with, from climate change to economics to water quality or environmental toxins, the answers are always in these Native communities that have powerful environmental legislation like the treaties. I was able to work with youth that were just incredible. They're genius and so like this fire in their belly to take care of, their birthright, which is these foods and these medicines and this land. And that program consisted of just mentoring this group of youth, taking them to Northern California. We took a trip to Humboldt State University because they have an excellent natural resources program. And California tribes, I think, are extra innovative because their treaties were never ratified, so they actually don't have treaty rights. They pass their work through environmental legislation with state entities. And there's a lot to learn about that mechanism because it's almost inverted here in Washington state. We have co-management practices in place with the state, but still really struggle to figure out how that actually plays out. We still lean into our federal status quite a bit. So learning to work within local, state, tribal even, and federal municipalities is really important for policy making and tending and thinking about how to do it like our ancestors did. I mean, at a time when they just witnessed a cultural collapse, it's something that Rudy has really taught me is, the history and the timeline of how food systems shifted here in the Northwest, even pre-contact, before Captain Vancouver sailed into the Salish Sea. There was this wave of pandemics that happened here. We had witnessed a cultural collapse, and then newcomers, and then negotiating treaties and policy at a time when everything was just so upside down. But that policy is still so powerful to this day. That's the kind of policy making I want to be involved in, and that I want to help youth, find the way to do it that way. I don't think any of this for me would have been possible without Rudy and the work that he has just sort of cultivated. And, there's this teaching of when we look at the forest floor, there's more life on the forest floor than what we see above because there's so much seed. And it's just sort of like waiting for the temperatures to be right to crack out of its shell and take a chance at life. And I feel like Rudy's really done that work of making the temperatures right for people to feel equipped and courageous enough to take a chance at continuing on this work. I feel like I stand on the shoulder of giants. My mentor was Rudy, and also Hank Gobin, who talks a lot about Rudy and how he held a gathering of a traditional foods dinner like 20 years ago or something, and Hank ate that food and just knew that this was going to be the answer, that this is what our Native people needed to be able to feed their spirit and overcome health challenges that we see to this very day. And Hank passed away about 9 years ago, and I still think about the way he talked about Rudy, my experiences with Rudy. I remember being a nutrition student in my senior year studying fats and Elise connected me to Rudy, and it was like a game changer. Like all of the sort of wonderings I had and if this was even possible, he made it seem that it was possible. And I believe that to this day. So it's our way to always honor our teachers. And for me, that Rudy is like the pinnacle of it. So yeah, I'm so grateful to him.